this thing looks like it's not straight. It's not straight. There we go. I think that's better. Let me check and make sure that my flip is still good. Okay, my flip is still good. All right. Well, hello. I'm from office to I'm exhausted. I have a luncheon today I'm supposed to go to. I don't even know if I'm going to make it to my luncheon. I'm so freaking exhausted. My back is hurting from pushing the lawnmower to Dukeland's ditch. Oh, good gracious. I am up ridiculously early because I went to bed ridiculously early. And so, since I was up in an excruciating pain, it didn't seem like I was going to be going back to sleep any longer. So, I think Brian Hooker just sunk his boat. Like, I think at this point, we are dead to rights when it comes to Brian Hooker. If you guys don't know about this case, I wish I had a background, but in this format, I do not because I have to show you something. And the only way I can show you something is on my TV so it looks decent. So we got the TV up and ready to go. Okay. Good morning, Kimberly. It's nice to see you. Middle of the night. Well, it's kind of like 3 a.m. for me. So my morning's already starting. But this morning's a little bit different because I'm in a lot of pain. So I think I always do that. Even when I put the Christmas lights up, I was down for freaking 2 days. It wasn't even the day after. It was like the day after the day after. Well, yesterday I was at my county meeting and, but the afternoon before that, I push lawned my neighbor's ditch and for whatever reason I must have pulled something. I'm in a lot of pain today, so I don't know where the pain's coming from. I just know that I'm stiff as a freaking board today, and it's not. And I've got, like I said, I've got a luncheon to do. It could have been the fact that I was running across the street in heels yesterday too. I mean, it just um anyways, that neither here nor there, neither here nor there. My problem, not a you problem. Anyways, it is nice to see everybody this morning. I'm Bullhorn Betty. We're covering the case of Lynette Hooker. Lynette Hooker, 55-year-old mom, sold everything in 2023 when she retired. She has dreamed her whole life of. Okay, well, thank you for that. Maybe I will. She sold everything in her life to set sail. This is something that she, according to her daughter, has wanted to do. I gotta. Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Okay. So Brian's story is frazzling. Brian's story is frazzling. According to the audio, I don't know how we missed this audio. I don't know. Maybe it just hasn't been released before. But Nancy Grace got the tea. Like she got the pay dirt, like pay dirt, pay dirt. It even talks about the flare being shot at Lynette, it hitting Lynette. This is like bombshell information. My mouth was floored. Absolutely floored. Good afternoon, Chateau Rescue. Oops, hit send. I'm so happy to have found you. I'm a patriot. Aren't we excited what happened 11 years ago today? Yeah. Now I'm in Alaska still today. Wow. I had a friend that was stationed in Alaska many years ago, lost track of her. Give me just a second, guys. I'm sorry. I just sneezed. I had to clean the old pipes out. So I don't want this going too far. So let's go ahead and get in it so we can further discuss.
He's never seen again. That's what he says, and that he is blown straight across the bay.
Did you guys hear that?
I guess the two teacups, as I like to say, and ends up at Marsh Harbor. Completely different route than what the GPS reveals. That is huge. Vanessa Walsh.
This is not it yet. This is stuff we already know.
Yeah, this is a wildly different story than Brian Hooker first recounted, and it adds a lot of credence to what many folks are reporting and saying online, that he did indeed return to the Soulmate. And I think what this brings into play.
I wish Open Minded was up this morning because, Open Minded and I have debated quite heavily whether they made it back to the boat and whether there's evidence that they made it back to the Soulmate. Not only do I believe that this supports they made it back to the Soulmate, but some of his statements identify items at the Soulmate, not in the dinghy.
You know, that direction of travel would corroborate some of the eyewitness statements of seeing things happening on Soulmate, lights turning on, flares being lit off at strange angles around 9 p.m. This adds a lot of credence to those firsthand accounts.
Now, one thing, I believe that Hooker told Carly, Lynette's
Hard to
daughter,
hear? Okay.
that the quote flotation device he threw out, I believe the sea cushion, was found. Let's listen. Let's listen.
Hello, my name is all from Bookhouse Search and Rescue, and I found the flotation device that I threw to Mom when she fell overboard. They haven't found her yet.
That's from our friends at CBS. So, Vanessa Walsh, that is one thing we think was found, the sea cushion. Yes.
Again, these are all the things we know. It's going to be coming up. Hello, everybody. Come on in. Some of you guys are familiar to me. Some of you guys are not. I'm Bullhorn Betty. I am in office too. Yes, I'm in my PJs. Okay. And you guys got a bedhead, Betty. Okay. You got brushed teeth. That's about it. Okay. Brushed teeth and a cup of coffee. That's what you guys got today. I didn't even brush my hair yet. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty channel. Sometimes that just happens. Sometimes you might have to turn your volume up because you guys should be able to hear because it's blasting in my room. Let me make sure we got the volume up on this end. And the volume's up on my end as high can be. Hey, YouTuber, you're up awfully early. Good morning, midnight. The boss is like, Betty, what you doing to us? I'm having pain. I can't go back to, I'm in excruciating pain. So the only thing I'm going to do when I'm in excruciating pain, nothing's taking this stuff away. I've already swallowed a handful of freaking ibuprofen. Actually, not an ibuprofen, Aleve, naproxen, the generic Aleve, naproxen. I've already gotten a handful of naproxen in me. It's not helping. So the only thing I can do at this point is sit in bed in agony or turn the cameras on and take my mind off of it. So guess what? We got bombshell information in Lynette. You know what? That's perfect for me, especially in the condition I'm in right now. I got work to do. So I'm trying to get my mind off the pain I'm in. I'm in a lot of pain right now. And I have a luncheon that I might have to cancel because of the pain I'm in right now. So we're going to work. That's what I do when I'm in a lot of pain. I work. Okay. And we've got some bombshell information in the Lynette Hooker case. Lynette Hooker, 55-year-old mom, went over her dinghy, according to her husband. Guys, this is stuff we've never heard before. Brian in the water as well? Now he's in the water? Was there a struggle in the water? Is that what happened when we heard that clunk from the Soulmate? Like, this is beyond comprehension. Everything that we knew about this case is about to blow up in our face because the story he gives, I would say mowers and ditches maybe avoids anything I do that puts a little pressure. I've got degenerate disc disease and scoliosis. So, yeah, you know, I've got to do stuff around the house. And sometimes when I do stuff around the house, it just puts me down. And I never know what it is because I'm perfectly fine when I'm doing the task. It doesn't happen until like a day or two later. And then I feel it. This is just one of those things where I, mowed the yard and I was out in, 3-inch heels yesterday. So I'm pretty sure that the combination is what set my back off today. But either way, I'm in a lot of pain. So we'll just deal with it. Anyways, let's quit talking about it so I don't have to think about it. We've heard all this. We've heard all, his plan didn't jive with the, what he told law enforcement. That's what prompted the U.S. Coast Guard to go back out there and research. You guys haven't even been to bed. I've been to sleep. I just want to be very, very clear. I'm wide awake right now. I'm in a lot of pain, But I could go literally all day to right at this point. Okay, maybe so, maybe not, depending on how my pain level. But I'm rested. I'm fully rested. I think I went to bed last night. I don't know. My meeting was over by like 6. I had cravings yesterday, so I mean, there is that. So I think by 8 o'clock I was in bed. So I've got 4 hours plus. I think I woke up at 2. So we got a total of 6 hours in us. That's a full night's of sleep for me. I go to bed at 4 a.m. Okay, well that's not me. I'd be closer to going to bed at 4 p.m. than 4 a.m. Okay, it's just my body. So I go to bed very early and I'm up very early. I go to bed while it's still light out, and I wake up when it's dark out. So that's my schedule. It's been my schedule for years. I'm used to it. So I've been to bed. I've been asleep. I ended up waking up and waking up to a lot of pain. So I was sitting here tossing and turning, and I'm like, okay, let me take my mind off this. I'm watching Nancy Grace with this whole Lynette Hooker thing, and I'm like, did you guys hear that? And I look around and the only person here is Delilah. And I'm like, well, I know you heard that, but you don't understand what that means, right? My schedule is off. I sleep whenever. And that's what I was telling my friend Aletha. I was like, in my world, it's like when I sleep. When I'm up, I work. I mean, that's just the name of the game, because I don't really do anything but work, really. That's my life. In work is encompassing of, political stuff, the true crime stuff. Aletha's clean. I wish I could clean. I wish I could clean. You know what? If I clean this house right now, I would be in bed for the next week. I would be literally horizontal for a week. That's how bad my back is getting. I'm going to end up having to have surgery. I know it. I'm just trying to avoid it. I'm just trying to avoid it. Anyways, let's get back. Oh, no, don't turn it off, because then we're going to have to listen to a freaking commercial. Damn it. I wish I could change this. Yeah, I quit paying for the premium service, so I can see what's going on with my account. I've just did it for like a month because everybody was complaining about all of the advertisements. I gotta tell you, YouTube is gonna do what they want to do with advertisements, because I've changed every single setting that I can possibly do over the last couple weeks, just to change the amount of after production, the amount of advertisement after production and no matter what I do, they put the advertisements in. And there's nothing you can do. Even when I tell them, do not put an advertisement in for until 24 minutes. So every 24 minutes, you guys get an advertisement. Since I've canceled my subscription just to see what's going on, I noticed that it could be like 8 minutes and would have an ad. I can't stand ads. I just pay it. Yeah, exactly. That's what I think everybody does. But or a lot of people, but there's just some people that can't. So I try to manage that a little bit on my end. And I'm just convinced no matter what we put, whether we put, do it every 6 minutes, do it every 24 minutes, YouTube just puts if you give them permission to put the ads, they just do whatever the hell they want to do. I really don't believe. I think they want us to believe we have control over it, but I don't think we have control over it. I really don't. Because I've watched my own channel and I'm like, this is not, and I went back and checked the settings, and the settings are right. And I'm like, and after I saw it doing like just about every single video, I'm like, okay, well then clearly I don't control it. So YouTube controls it, just FYI. Let me go back a little bit.
I believe that Hooker told Carly.
Oh, thank you, Aletha.
That the quote flotation device he threw out, I believe, the sea cushion, was found. Let's listen.
Hello, my name is Paul from Oaktown Search and Rescue, and I found the flotation device that I threw to Mom when she fell overboard. They haven't found her yet.
That's our friends at CBS. So, Vanessa Walsh, that is one thing we think was found, the sea cushion.
Yes, and reportedly and conveniently, the sea cushion washed up not far from where Brian ended up at Marsh Harbor.
Why do you say that? What's convenient about that? What
So-
is coincidental?
So I think this is pretty interesting. I might get around here, okay? Because we've always had a problem with what we truly believe happened. So here's the Sea of Abaco, or the Abaco Inn, guys, okay? This is the Abaco Inn. Remember, I kept thinking their boat was somewhere up here. It's not. So they went out of the Abaco Inn. Their boat was down here. You see this dark patch right here? This is Lubbers. Okay? This is this is one of the videos. Remember, we had a house somewhere right here that was pointing in Aunt Pat's Bay. So this is Aunt Pat's Bay. This is the Abaco Inn. So everything is right here. That's what's so important, is because you've got the Abaco Inn. It looks like they came out here and they had their vessel just parked right here. So because of the lights that we saw, now we can get a clear picture of where the house must have been that was shining the video over, had the camera pointing out to Aunt Pat's Bay, that was able to see the lights come on at 7:47. Also, they were able to see the lights at 12:30 on top of the boat. You can't see who's behind the lights or the boat. But I just thought this was interesting because I felt like the boat was more up here, but it's not. Look how close everything is encapsulated in this. So I just wanted you guys to see that and understand, what we're looking at here, because in all fairness, I thought that vessel was much further up, than I was misconceived this whole time. So this even gives, in my opinion, this gives us even more of an issue, because everything's so close together. It literally makes no sense for him to drift 4 miles away. That was all a setup. That was all to manufacture an alibi and to destroy evidence. And I think that that's what this is really starting to develop in this story. But this is still not the bombshell information.
About that. I agree with you, but I would like you to explain.
The thing
I
that stuck
agree.
out to me from the beginning is I always thought it was strange that that's the one thing he threw out in that shallow water. But it's interesting that we've never been able to find anything else to corroborate his story. Most importantly, the dry bag with the dinghy keys and her cell phone and his passports and all that. They've never found any trace of that.
You gotta so apparently she had all their passports. She allegedly had the dinghy keys. He's saying the dinghy keys were magnetic. And it's like, okay, well, if they're magnetic, the keys still have to attach to something to turn the engine on. How is it not, connected to her or him? It just doesn't make sense with the keys either. But the dry bag's never been found, and if she would have went overboard, that would have eventually, even if she died, especially if she died, that would have eventually, with the waves. I mean, think about Riley Strain. He was, basically his clothes had fallen off of him. His boots, his jeans, those had all worked their way down through the course of the water and the waves just gently rocking him back and forth, moving his clothes around. And his, I believe his boots or his, he was just found in his boxers, so those things come off you and they wash ashore. This didn't happen, for her dry bag or her Conch Republic hairdress or the black fanny pack. None of this stuff. Everything just went missing, including the oar. Let's not forget about that oar.
But they conveniently find the one piece he does bring up in his statement close by to where he landed. To me, that seems a little suspicious. Just my opinion.
And tonight, does Brian Hooker place himself in the water?
Listen to this.
Lynette, when she falls overboard.
I was keeping a very stiff upper lip because she's a regular swimmer, not like a passenger or anything, but she's determined.
She's an athlete. Her parents talked about her triathlons. He's saying she's not an athlete, but a strong swimmer. Apparently her family disagrees.
Off overboard.
I was keeping a very stiff upper lip because she is, she's a regular swimmer, not like a athlete or anything, but she's determined, and she was hit a flare pistol I had slid down one of the sponsons down towards the stern. And the dinghy, I took so many leads over the dinghy, I bailed about 5 or 6 times. I had to bail up.
You hear that? That's a first for us. He had to bail out the dinghy. That means he was in the water with Lynette. What? What? So according to this statement, guys, he's in the water with Lynette 5 or 6 different times. He tumbled out, allegedly. Now, it's taking on water. He's talking about a stern. I mean, if you want to talk about the direction of a boat, I guess you could say that. But he's also going to be talking about a cockpit, okay? There's no cockpit on a dinghy. The cockpit is on the Soulmate. So he's interchanging, going back to the Soulmate. He's basically describing the Soulmate in some of the statements. They made it back to this. He sunk his boat. His boat is sunk. This just sunk the man's boat.
The cockpit, but the inside also got wet. The dinghy key was not attached to me, so when we were trying to get back in the boat, the sun was falling when it dropped out. It was a magnet key, for the electric motor. It was a cascade of failures, and it's something I'm never going to forgive myself for.
So,
okay, let's listen to that again. Let's listen to that again.
To find anything else to corroborate.
Let's get past this. There we go. Hold on, let me back it up 10 seconds.
tonight, does Brian Hooker place himself in the water with Lynette when she falls overboard?
Let's listen to it again.
A very stiff upper lip because she's a regular swimmer, not like a athlete or anything, but she's determined, and she was hit a flare pistol I had slid down one of the.
Do you guys hear that? Did you guys just catch that? Hold on, let's go back up there. Let's go.
The water.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to stop it.
With Lynette when she falls overboard.
I was keeping a
very stiff upper lip.
She's a regular swimmer, not like a athlete or anything, but she's determined, and she was hit a flare pistol.
You guys see that? She was hit by the flare pistol? It says she was hit by the flare pistol. And he says it nonchalant. We missed it. We missed it. Oh, shoot. Okay, we're going to have to come back here. Hold on. Let me go back to that. I just screwed up. I went back too far. Now I've got to listen to another freaking, another commercial. Give me a second. We got to. But did you guys see that in the text? In the plain text, he says that she was hit with the flare. And he says it as matter-of-factly as he's just rolling through the story. And you only catch it when you hear it, you're not realizing what you're hearing. But when you see the closed caption, that's when you realize what he says. Remember I kept saying that we heard that there was a horizontal flare that was shot off on the Soulmate. We learned this from Ashley Banfield. And she said that it was horizontal. And I said, when you have a horizontal flare, it's being used as a weapon or it's being used as defense. It's not being used as its purpose, as the purpose it was there for, which is SOS, to go straight up in the air to notify somebody that you are in danger. So let's go ahead and rewind this. Let me get back up here. Hopefully I don't screw this up again. Okay, we're right there. And I think we're...
sponsons down towards the stern. And the dinghy, I took so many waves over the dinghy, I bailed about 5 or 6 times I had to bail out the cockpit, but the inside also got
No,
wet.
this is too far. Hold on, let me go back. This is where does he say something? Hold on, let me go back.
And tonight, does Brian
We're gonna do
Hooker
it again.
place himself in?
We're gonna do it again because this is my problem. I gotta remember when it's not up. I gotta hit the thing twice. 'Cause I want to get it on the on the screen where it says she was hit with the flare. It's in text.
The water with Lynette when she falls overboard.
I was keeping a very stiff upper lip because she is strong. You know, I mean,
She's a regular swimmer.
regular swimmer, not like a
I'm gonna keep pausing it until I get to the right spot. So bear with me.
athlete or anything, but she's
She's effing determined.
determined, and she was.
There it is. Got it. There it is. And she was hit with a flare pistol. Why is and this guy makes a valid point. You guys see that? Raise your hand in chat if you guys can read that. Raise your hand in chat if you guys can read that. This to me is insane. We have 105 people. Bless you guys. You guys are up ridiculously early or not gone to bed yet. I'm up ridiculously early. I have gone to bed. I have slept an entire night. So thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you. We're covering the case of Lynette Hooker. What a sad case. She's got a daughter. We've been wondering about this. Now we know. Now we're starting to see some things cracking out. And this is all his statements, guys. His boat is sunk. In my position, in the where I'm looking at this right here, his boat is sunk, guys. We've got a man that's going to be arrested. Okay, we have a man that's going to be arrested and is going to most likely have a homicide investigation. Brian Hooker, if you are listening to the Bullhorn Betty channel, please tell him where your wife is. Please do your entire family a favor. Nothing is going to save your hide, nor should it. You're a reasonable person that was in our military. You know you're going to have to deal with this. You know you're going to have to take responsibility. Hiding and lying, you're done. This right here, you're cooked. You're cooked. It's a matter of time before you get that knock at the door and you know it. Do the right thing. Bring Lynette home to her family. Bring Lynette home to her family. Not gone to bed myself, tried, but oh no. Sciatica, I hate that. I'm not having sciatica. I'm having just major bone problems right now. I'm in a lot of pain. My lower back is not being very kind to me. It's I've been hurting a lot. All the lights in the house are on right now. It's been a very painful morning for me as well.
The flare pistol I had slid down one of the.
See, he just made it matter of factly. I can't believe he said one of the. He said that she was hit with a freaking flare.
She was hit with a flare pistol I had.
She was hit with a flare pistol I had.
Sponsons down towards the stern. And the dinghy, I took so many waves over the dinghy. I bailed.
Did you notice how he was about to say, like, in the dinghy, like he's talking about two separate boats? This is what happens when a liar lies and they don't know what the hell they're doing. They're all over the place because they're trying to cover their ass. But he keeps flipping back to the soulmate in the dinghy, and he catches himself. He catches himself and he tries to, like this one, he's like, in the dinghy, the dinghy was taking on water, right? So, I mean, we have to understand what we're saying here.
I slid down one of the sponsons down towards the stern.
Maybe.
I took so many waves over the dinghy. I bailed about 5 or 6 times. I had to bail out the cockpit, but the inside also.
There is no cockpit, and there is no inside. Like it's an open area. They sit on the side of the freaking. There's no cockpit. If you're talking about the bow and the stern, you're just talking about the front or the back. So I can understand that you use those terminologies if you're a sailor, but. There is no cockpit. There is no bailing from the cockpit. And so what in the world is he talking about? You know what he's talking about is because he knows he was on Soulmate and he keeps trying to tell the story and keeps forgetting that he's not supposed to be on the Soulmate.
but the dinghy key was not attached to me, you know. So when we were trying to get back in the boat, the sun was falling, but it kind of dropped on. It was a magnet key, you know, for the electric motor. It was a cascade of failures, and it's something I'm never gonna forgive myself for.
So that's him from our friends at Fox News Digital and Unmasked True Crime Podcast. First to you, Daniel Danforth. She was hit with a flare pistol? What? She was hit with a flare pistol? I'm looking right at it. What?
Okay. So now let's talk. You guys just heard like some pretty significant changes in his story. From what we know to be true about this story, now we have some significant issues with this story. Let's talk about it. The interchanging of the yacht and the dinghy. He did that multiple times. That's pretty interesting because he's trying to make us believe they never made it back to the, hey Phil, it's nice to see you, love. So he's trying to convince us that he did not make it back to the Soulmate, yet everything he's saying appears to, I mean, he's talking about, you know, I wonder if some of that's true, because we did hear, hey, Claudia Robini, hello. He needs to tell her family where she is. This is ridiculous. Yes, I agree. I absolutely agree. And everything in his story is kind of falling apart because, you know, he got nervous and wanted to explain his side. And so he had to go down the phone list. And the problem is that every time somebody asks you a question, you want to fill that gap in. So the next person you call, you're filling that gap in for them. And next thing you know, you got all these little changes that don't make sense by the time the last person hears your story. And there has to be changes to accommodate those changes. So I think what we're dealing with here is, I do believe, like many others, there are a few that don't believe that they made it back to the Soulmate. I think this is basically, I mean, everything that witnesses seen happened at the Soulmate, and now some of these things are being corroborated by Brian. For example, it's the flare, right? The flare he said he had in the dinghy, and none of us took that into consideration until somebody said, why is the flare gun in the dinghy? And then it's like the light bulb went off, because it's like, yeah, why is the flare gun in the dinghy? Because the flare gun, I mean, we had a flare pistol on our boats. It's a requirement here in Florida to have, you know, XYZ flotation devices. My dad had the seat cushions, the vest. There would only be 3 of us on the boat usually at a time, and he had like 12, you know. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. Did we have plenty of life preservers on the boat? Yes, we did. We had more than enough. Okay, we could all have a seat cushion and 3, you know, life vests. I mean, we could tie them together and float on a lounge. Okay, that's how much life flotations devices we had on our boat. Okay, but my dad had the it's a watertight container that's like, you know, it's pretty big. I mean, it's, you know, it's like a little speaker, you know, like some of those speakers, the box speakers, or a little smaller than, you know, maybe a thermos, you know, one of those round thermoses that are like this big. It's about that. It's like a thermos. And the 2 sides twist off in the middle. And in there usually is a few flares, a little pamphlet that tells you how to use the flare pistol, and then of course the pistol itself, which has this like big hole, you know, it's like plastic. It looks fake. It looks like a toy, but it's not, you know. And so you load the pistol and you hold it straight up and you shoot it up. And what it does is it shoots this flare up in the air, and the flare starts lighting up as it goes up. And then as it's starting to turn and come down, it leaves this light up in the air for an extended period of time. So if you're out there and you need help, because sometimes, you know, boats, their equipment fails, their electronics go out, they have no power. So if they have no power, their communication devices aren't working. So they need to get somebody's attention on the water to tell them that they need help. Sometimes the only way to do that is by that flare. That flare is the only place, the only way that you're going to tell them where your location is. So they're a very useful tool to have on boats, and they're very important in the maritime conditions. And this is what we're at. But to have it on the dinghy versus the vessel doesn't make sense, because the dinghy's not designed to be in deep waters. It's not designed. It's just designed to carry you back to your vessel. It's got a very limited capacity for it, and it's not something people are gallivanting around in, that they need the that flare system on their dinghy. It's inappropriate. It doesn't fit. So I never thought about that until somebody, tells us that, oh my gosh, why is somebody using a flare pistol on the dinghy? Why is the flare pistol even on the dinghy? It doesn't suit. And that's when it kind of hits you, oh my gosh, this doesn't suit. So this is a situation where I truly do believe, now that we know what we know, I feel like he went back, and this supports me thinking that she was murdered very quickly after getting on that boat. I believe that they got on the boat, she took her watch off like she normally does, put it on the charger, and then they went to fighting. I think he yoked her up almost immediately. Because, and I've said this before, it was because of the eyewitness saying they saw the flare at 8 p.m. I believe that was when the fight happened, ensued. And again, we couldn't determine whether it was used for a weapon or for defense, but either way, it was shot horizontally, which means it was used not as a help device, but as a, almost as a pistol would be normally used. So I have a problem with that. And I even said, because of this because of this flare being shot horizontally at 8, I believe she was dead closer to 8. I think he at that time, they were in the middle, she was fighting for her life. And he may have picked that up after he did what he did to her and say, that's what you get, for all we know. So, not really happy with hearing this information, but this sunk his boat. This, in my opinion, sunk the man's boat. So for those people coming in, if you're just coming in here, yes, he just said he bailed out of the dinghy. Yes, he just said he was introduced into the water. Yes, he just said he went into the water 5 or 6 times. Never once going and swimming toward his wife to save her as she was being swept out to sea. I just got here. You're an hour or 2 earlier than usual. Yes, I am, Momo. I'm in a lot of pain this morning, so I couldn't go back to sleep. So I decided to get up and work and just try to get, I took some not ibuprofen. I keep saying ibuprofen. I'm out of ibuprofen. I got naproxen. I took some naproxen, but it's not really helping. So I had the choice of laying here in silence and pain, or getting up and working and taking my mind off pain. So I decided to get up and work. That's where we are right now. We're going over the Lynette Hooker and Momo. Holy smokes, you just missed it. Let's go back. If you're here and you've already watched it a few times and you really don't want to watch it again, well, you love Bullhorn Betty, so you're just going to have to deal. But at the end of the day, this is what we just found out. Okay. Let me turn this toward me. Good morning. Good morning for everybody coming in. Come on in. So this is what we just found out in the Lynette Hooker case. Breaking news. Not breaking news. What am I talking? Bombshell. This is bombshell. This is bombshell news. First of all, we've just found out that Brian was in the water. Brian, according to this statement that was recorded by him or by somebody that was listening to his story, he says he was in the water 5 or 6 times. He bailed out of the dinghy, that the dinghy was taking on water. This is the news story. So now he was like, I can't believe I dropped the anchor down last. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. Caligon, take me away. Right. Now, all of that was a lie. He was in the water with Lynette. He could have saved her. He could have swam over to her. He could have held on to her hand. He could have helped her up in the dinghy instead of climbing into the dinghy himself 5 or 6 times, according to him. He's saying that he went into the water. And not only that, Momo, sit down. You're going to have to sit down for this. You're going to have to sit down for this. He said she was hit by the flare pistol. He said she was hit by the flare pistol. So now, we remember when I asked, oh my gosh, is this being used as a weapon or for a defense? When we heard that it was shot horizontally at the Soulmate. And he keeps going back and forth with Soulmate conversation and dinghy conversation. And he keeps catching himself in this particular recording. But he's talking about how he was in the cockpit. And it's like, there's no cockpit on the dinghy. The cockpit's on the Soulmate. So now we hear he's gone into the water off the dinghy 5 or 6 times where he could have saved his wife. He was already in the water and he chose to climb back in the dinghy 5 or 6 times and let her be swept out to sea. We call bullshit on that story too, but that's this story. She was hit with the flare pistol. So now I guess we have our answer. Was it used as a defense mechanism or as a weapon? It sounds like it was used as a weapon. Sounds like he used the flare on her. That's what it sounds like right now. But of course, he's talking about it, on the boat, that this is not the attack. He's not obviously not admitting to doing anything attack wise. But talk about, like, when I watch this, my mouth went, ah. Yeah, he just said that. We're going to go through it again, guys.
But it's interesting that we've never been able to find anything else to corroborate his story. Most importantly, the dry bag with the dinghy keys and her cell phone and his passports and all that. They've never found any trace of that. But they conveniently find the one piece he does bring up in his statement close by to where he landed. To me, that seems a little suspicious. Just my opinion.
And tonight, does Brian Hooker place himself in the water
The answer is yes.
with Lynette when she falls overboard?
I was keeping a very stiff upper lip because she is strong. I mean, she's a regular swimmer, not like a athlete or anything, but she's determined. And she was hit the flare pistol I had that slid down.
Did you hear that? She was hit by the flare pistol. Yep, she just happened to be hit by the flare pistol. There you are, YouTuber. There you are. Thank you.
One of the sponsors down towards the stern, and the dinghy, I took so many weights over the dinghy, I bailed about 5 or 6 times. I had to bail.
He had to bail out of the dinghy 5 or 6 times. This is the first time that we're hearing he was in the water. So why didn't he save his wife? Why didn't he save his wife? Why didn't he grab his wife? Why didn't he make sure she was put back in the dinghy 5 or 6 times before he was put back in the dinghy 5 or 6 times?
The cockpit, but the inside also got wet.
Oh, Mr. Rooster, I disagree. I mean, this is, how can you twist this? This is his statements. I mean, I can understand if she was stretching it, but we can hear for ourselves. You make your own assessment by his own statements, but he's saying he went into the water 5 or 6 times. This is the first time we've heard of that. He's saying that his wife was hit by the flare pistol. I can promise you this is the first time we've heard that. And he keeps interchanging the cockpit and stuff that's on the yacht for the stuff for something that's not in. Bailing water means tossing water out. No, he bailed out. Let's go back. Let's listen to it again. You're right. You're right. You're right. It could mean a couple things. Let's listen. Let's go back and listen to it again. Let's listen to it again. You're right.
One piece he does bring up in his.
You're right, Mr. Rooster. It could mean something. Let's listen to it again. Let's listen to just his words.
Statement close by to where he landed. To me, that seems a little suspicious.
Okay, now she's going to come on. We're going to listen to her, and then we'll shut up and listen to what his words were.
Just my opinion.
And tonight, does Brian Hooker place himself in the water with Lynette when she falls overboard?
Let's see.
I was keeping a very stiff upper lip because she's
Okay, so we're going to do this. We're going to listen. We're going to look at the print.
strong.
She's a regular swimmer,
She's a regular swimmer,
not like an athlete.
an athlete or anything, but
She's effing determined.
committed, and she would.
And she would, oh, here we go. I wanted to make sure you guys saw it in the black and white. And she was hit with a flare pistol. And she was hit with a flare pistol. Okay, that's what he says. Let's listen to it.
The flare pistol I had slid down one of the sponsons down towards the stern, and the dinghy, I took some lately.
Okay, let's listen to this. Here you go, Mr. Rooster. It says, I took so many waves over the dinghy. Here it is. Hold on, let's.
Over the dinghy,
Okay. I bailed about.
5 or 6 times I had to bail out.
Okay, here it is. 5 or 6 times I had to bail out the cockpit. The way he's saying is, now if he had to bail water, he wouldn't be saying I had to bail out of the cockpit. When you say I have to bail out of anywhere, I had to bail out of the house, I had to bail out of the car, I had to bail out. That means you are getting out of that area. So I'm not taking it. And yet you're right. He could have been talking about bailing water, but the way he's using the verbiage and the way it's talking about out of the cockpit, that's not referring to bailing, bales of water. That's basically saying I had to dive out of. That's the way I'm taking it. So I can't go back too much. Hold on, let's go up here. We can go back 10 seconds.
Sponsons down towards the stern, and the dinghy, I took some waves over the dinghy. I bailed about 5 or 6 times. I had to bail out the cockpit, but the inside also got wet.
But the inside also got wet. So he's not talking about bailing water. Otherwise, he wouldn't say the inside also got wet, right? The inside of the dinghy also got wet. If he was bailing water out of the dinghy, so I think you might be. I get what you're saying, Mr. Rooster, but I think the way he's saying it kind of speaks for itself. Good morning, by the way. Hey, good morning, Sonia. I see you up. So take it. I mean, well, we all heard it. So if that's what you're getting out of it, that's what you're getting out of it. But I can promise for me, that's not what I'm personally getting out of it.
Text to me, so when we were trying to get back in the boat, the sun
See, right there. He admitted it. There it is. I'm sorry. I missed that too. Let me go back up here. When we were trying to get back into the boat. So when he's talking about, so he did just admit it. The cockpit of the dinghy is the open, recessed area where the crew sits, steers, and operates. Boat control. Yeah, but it's not called that on a dinghy, unfortunately. That I know. So let's listen to this. Nanny's talking about getting back into the boat. So he's referring to going into the water.
With Lynette.
Okay, this is the last time we're going to watch it. I'm not going to stop it.
She's a regular swimmer, not like a athlete or anything, but she's.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
She was hit. A flare pistol I had slid down one of the sponsons down towards the stern, and the dinghy, I took so many waves over the dinghy. I bailed about 5 or 6 times. I had to bail out the cockpit, but the inside also got wet. The dinghy key was going to test to me, so when we were trying to get back in the boat.
See, when we were messing around trying to get back in the boat, and he's talking about when we're trying to get back in the boat, as implying that he was with Lynette in the water. So this right here, I mean, at least, hopefully you could at least agree with me, Rooster, that this is a different story than we've known about. you know. Hopefully I can get you there, you know, but I will check it out. But you're going to hear them address it. I don't like the terminology. Most people, even boaters, does not use cockpit when referring to a dinghy. They just don't. It's not too. It may be what they say for defining purposes, but it's not what people normally use when describing that open recessed area. So just in my opinion, but you might be a bigger boater than me. I haven't been on a boat in years, but I was raised on boats.
The son was small and when it dropped out, it was an active G, for the electric motor. And it was a cascade of failures, and it's something I'm never going to forgive myself for.
So that's him from our friends at Fox News Digital and Unmasked True Crime Podcast. First to you.
I'm not disagreeing, Betty. I'm just pointing out things that defense is going to use, and I do have a boat 20 footer. And yeah, in 20 footers, we talk about cockpits, but not typically on a dinghy. You know, so just for me, that's all.
Daniel Danforth, she was hit with a flare pistol? What? She was hit with a flare pistol?
This is another one of their friends right here. I can't remember his name. He also has a YouTube channel. He also knows Blaine and his wife. And apparently, Nancy Grace, the candid moments. I always pause these things right at the funniest freaking moments. I am so sorry. But anyways, he's a friend of Lynette and Brian's along with Blaine. It seems like they were all, at one time when they first got on the water and they were new. Pictures of the definition of the word boat terms. Thank you, Mo.
I'm looking right at it, what he said on the phone call. And then he goes on to say, we were effing around trying to get back
in the
boat. What do you make of it?
I feel like they were possibly trying to get back. There's a couple of contradictions today. He said he was on the stern and the cockpit was filling full of water.
See?
That's talking about the sailboat, not necessarily talking about the dinghy.
Now, guys, I want you to let you know that guy right there lives on the water. So, I mean, he's familiar with living on a yacht and the dinghy too. That's how he met him. So, I mean, he's even kind of agreeing with me. I understand the terminology that when people are, but this is not language that you typically use on when you're on the water. It just isn't. I mean, not with a dinghy.
And so this was kind of new information. I hadn't heard this account yet.
Okay, to you, Dave Mack joining us, Crime Stories investigative reporter. He and Vanessa have been on the case from the very beginning when we heard Lynette went overboard. Dave Mack, do I have that statement correct? And to whom was Brian Hooker speaking?
Brian Hooker called fellow boater and friend Blaine Stevenson 2 days after Lynette vanished in the Bahamas. Now, Stevenson related this story to Fox News Digital that at a moment in that phone call, Brian places himself in the water that night. This contradicts his account that he stayed in the dinghy while she drifted away. It is exactly as you just quoted, Nancy. He says that I bailed about 5 or 6 times. I had to bail out the cockpit, but then the inside also got wet. And so the dinghy key was not attached to me, so when we were around trying to get back in the boat, word for word, Hooker to Blaine Stevenson.
There's no cockpit on that dinghy. Okay, I'm sorry. That would not be what I refer to as the cockpit, but I digress. I'm sorry. You're either inside that boat or outside that boat. There is no cockpit. Okay? I can understand the stern and the bow conversations, but the cockpit? Oh, come on, Mr. Rooster. Come on, Mr. Rooster. I'm sorry, flipping this out. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Mr. Rooster's gonna peck me. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying. All right, let me hit play. By the way, good morning, everyone. It's nice to see you. If you guys want to know why I'm up ridiculously early, I'm in a lot of pain. So I opted to work to try to get rid of the pain. I got to tell you, sometimes it does help a little bit, but then other times, like right now, it's just throbbing and it doesn't seem like anything I'm doing is going to let this pain go away at this point. Oh, good God. Excuse my language.
There is no cockpit in a dinghy.
No, it's just a little open tub, and they didn't really have a bedding device that, it has a bilge pump that pumps out automatically.
Did you hear that, Rooster? I'm in a lot of pain too. You broke your heart. Do roosters have a heart? I only knew you guys had a tough bill. But did you hear that? Did you hear that, Mr. Rooster? It had a bilge pump built all into the dinghy. They didn't have to bail water. I'm just saying. You know what? I wish I had some. I don't have thread, but I got some dental floss. You can sew up your broken heart. You just gotta find the needle. Here, I'll give you. It might sting a little bit because it's minty. I don't know if that works for broken hearts or not, but at least your heart will be minty fresh. At least your heart will be minty fresh. Hey, Deb. What does Rooster say? He says I'm full of shit. No, I'm just joking. He agrees to disagree. I broke poor Rooster's heart. At least that it cut off his bill. No, I'm just oh, good gracious. It's too early to be laughing. That hurts. I just want to let you know you're not allowed to make me laugh this morning.
With this. What does it mean she was hit with a flare pistol?
Okay, hold on.
To me,
Hold on, Mo. So Brian Hooker previously been detained and questioned in Lynette's disappearance. However, he remains innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Okay, so this is what it says. I'm going to try to read this. It says, in a boat, terminology, a cockpit is the protected recessed area on the deck where the vessel, that is correct, but that's on an actual vessel. The dinghy's a vessel, but it's different. It's just different. It's not the same. Protected recessed area on the deck where the vessel is steering and controlled. It serves as the command center for navigation and operation, houses the helm, the steering wheel, the navigation instruments. So this is talking about a regular boat, not a dinghy. So yeah, I agree that these are all components of a boat. And when you are referring to them, I would probably refer to what would be, in a normal boat, maybe the cockpit area. But it's not, I don't think that a dinghy, per se has a cockpit. I think that's the wrong terminology for the dinghy. Now, for any other boat, even for Mr. Rooster's boat, it's perfectly fine because he has a 20-foot boat. So he does have actually a cockpit that has the navigation device, the throttle on it, the key place, and the steering wheel. Well, it's like, this is like a John boat, okay? You don't have you got to think of it like a John boat. You have a stern and a bow. That's it. You don't have a cockpit on a John boat. And a dinghy's like a John boat, a smaller version of a John boat.
That sounds like the pistol accidentally fired and hit her. Or is he saying...
Exactly. I think that's what it is. Momo. That's all we're saying is that, I think the point is that he keeps interchanging as if he went back to the yacht because he's talking about the cockpit and the cockpit's on the yacht. And we're trying to place these two people back at the Soulmate because according to Brian's statement, remember, they just left the Abaco Inn, and it's about 10 minutes after they left the Abaco Inn, this lone wave comes up and knocks him off. Well, now he's saying that it was multiple waves and that all this water was knocking them over and he had to bail out of the boat several times because of the waves, and inside the boat it was even getting soaking wet inside the boat from all of these waves. And he was wrestling to get him and Lynette. It sounded like he was with Lynette at the time, because he said, we're effing around trying to get back. Hold up, Betty, a boat is like a man part. We want it to always sound bigger than it is. His dinghy has a cockpit inside. That might be right. Okay. I'm not arguing with Miss Roy. I told you you're not allowed to make me laugh. I'm in pain. I'm in pain. I want to smack you. No, I'm just joking.
The pistol rolled down the dinghy and hit her in the leg. What is he saying?
It's kind of odd because most people don't carry flares in their dinghy.
There you go.
You know, like the flare is more for the sailboat. That, you know, to carry a flare gun on a dinghy that you're just going to and from shore. They're not like you're out cruising around or out in the ocean. A flare is used for, you know, search and rescue to try to get attention brought towards you. So it's kind of odd that there were.
Ding, 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 ding. Everything is odd about this. The whole story just changed. And this was one of the first stories, and he told Blaine this. So we have to think that part of this is something that he might have told the Bahamian Coast Guard or the security guard that first saw him. So his whole story has since... Oh, that's not good. My wires just fell over. My bag of cords just fell over. That's great. I love that shit for me. That's great. That's great. Okay, guys.
Could even be a flare gun brought up. I feel like a lot of it is it's just the stories kind of mixed up, and that's what's happening when you don't tell the truth. Is that the stories start to overlap each other, and that, you know, there's so many contradictions to what happened with what he told me, and then what he told, you know, the other, you know, witnesses. And somewhere or another, the truth will finally be revealed. You know, that's what I'm hoping comes out.
You're on cross-examination. Who is our next sponsor? Well,
all right. So that's kind of everything that I, wanted to go over, because the statements changed drastically. The statement has changed absolutely drastically. So now we have a situation where he's now introduced himself into the water. So this brings a whole host of other questions about what happened out there on the water, right? Like, why didn't you put her back on the boat? Sounds like they were together trying to F around and get back on the boat. His story is so full of holes, it's beyond ridiculous. At this point, it is. That's why, you got to understand that for Brian, even though he's been this abusive man in her world for 25 years, a quarter of a century, and that's pretty much all she knows at this point, at the end of the day, he has basically gone unscathed. He said the water came into the cockpit with him. LOL. It's just that stuff he uses. But he's basically, been unscathed with everything that he's done throughout his life. He's never been really held accountable for his behavior. And so this right here, I'm pretty sure he's scared. I'm pretty sure he knows what he did. And he knows that it's only a matter of time before they come knocking, and it's time for him to pay the piper for what he has done. But the story change is fairly significant to what we know it today. But we have to remember, this is one of the stories that he told within 48 hours of her disappearing. Maybe he said it because he didn't expect them to record it. And I don't think, again, that Blaine and his wife intentionally tried to violate his stuff. I think they just wanted a good understanding of what happened, and they were kind of in shock, and the only thing that they could think of was recording. And it was fairly smart. I don't know if I would have even thought of doing that. I'm in true crime and a content creator, and I don't know if I got a call like that, if I would think to, oh my gosh, let me get another phone and start recording this, so we can make sure we understand. And I think that the reason why they were recording it, when you hear Blaine, he said he wanted, because he was telling him what was happening and where all this took place, and they wanted to be sure, because as you know, Blaine and his wife has gone out there to look for Lynette. So I truly do believe he was recording it so he could go back to it to remember what he said and where everything happened. So when he started searching for Lynette, he could be more helpful. We don't really know what was in his heart. I can only imagine that, you know, I can't imagine that with them not really knowing that he was abusive toward Lynette, that they automatically rushed to judgment to say, um that he did something to her, because they, from everything that they've told the world, they were kind of ignorant to the fact that she was being abused physically. It sounds like they only had the one message from a year or so ago where she says, "We're done. It was just too much closeness." And it still never cited that she was being abused physically. It just, their marriage was falling apart, and she was done. Is it legal there to record a conversation without the other party's consent? It's another country, so I don't know. I would think at that point it would be up to the other country, but the Bahamas, I don't think they have any real enforcement. I don't think they have what you think they got there. I don't know the laws in the Bahamas, but the Bahamian law enforcement and courts aren't handling the case, and I don't think our law enforcement's going to enforce another country's laws. So in Florida, it is, and it sounds like that the boat's in Florida, but the action happened in jurisdiction that they have no jurisdiction over. So I don't know if they'll enforce the. I doubt it. I doubt it. And Blaine and his wife are not in the States, so I don't know. I honestly don't know how that works. I mean, great question, legal question, but my answer is I don't know. I really don't know. Oh, we're done with that. Okay. So let me see what else we have here. I think I'm pretty much done with Lynette. Let me just go over this real quick and see if there's anything new that I haven't seen. 2 hour. The first key issue with the dinghy itself, CBS reported that the 8-foot dinghy was seized by the Coast Guard investigators, and an investigator was examining it with a cadaver dog nearby. If there were an accident, investigators would want to know whether the physical conditions of that boat support the story to police. But it didn't sound like the boat had any damage to it except that pin. The what he said happened to the oar, so they should be able to see a broken pin, which if he used that as an excuse, I can almost guarantee even if it wasn't broken, he would have made sure it was broken before he made that statement. The second key issue is the digital tracking. Multiple reports say the vessel had GPS data and tracking information do not line up with Brian Hooker's stated account. That type of mismatch can be critical because digital breadcrumbs often show movement, timing, and location far more reliable than memory under stress. The third issue is shifting tone in the case itself. Early reporting focused on a missing woman in rough waters. Later reporting uses phrases like criminal investigation and possible murder, which tells us the investigators are no longer treating this as an ordinary overboard accident. They believe Brian killed her. All the investigators, all the conduct that they're doing right now, all indicate that they believe she is a homicide victim and he is the culprit. Lynette's daughter has spoken publicly and questioned her stepfather's version of events. I'd like to know how she feels about these new details. I mean, these details are shocking to me because we have been covering this case since Easter weekend. Well, we didn't start covering it. We started covering the case, I want to say about the 8th or the 9th. So about 4 days after this happened is when we started covering this case. Because I remember him already being in jail by the time we covered it. And we've talked about that because I feel like that, when we get in the case is when we get in the case. We can't help when we get into the case. But I felt with him being already in jail when we got into the case, I think it changed our focus. You know, I think we were more biased, if I had to be honest. Sammy has a question. Thank you for the information. So if Florida is too, I can be used. It can be used as evidence. What does Sammy say? Uncle Google says it's legal as long as you're part of the convo. Oh, okay, in the Bahamas. That's good to know. GPS isn't your friend. It's only not your friend when you're doing bad stuff. It's only GPS is your friend when you're not a criminal. Mr. Rooster, are you a criminal? I'm just asking. I'm just asking. That would be good to know, because if they can't use the law in California, you cannot record without all parties on the floor. That's the way it is in Florida. So Robbie, he says, according to where you live, Ohio is legal. I still didn't see. There it is. Good morning, all. I must have missed your comment, Sammy. I was wanting to read what you said. There it is. Bahama is a one-party consent. Okay, so yeah, they had their. And we don't know where, but you got to remember, Blaine and his wife weren't, we don't know if they were in the Bahamas. They could have been somewhere else. I don't think they were hanging out with him there. So they weren't in the same place as the Hookers. I just want to, you know, they were online friends, and they've met up for different events around, you know, I think that area. I just said Bahama is a one-party consent person. Perfect. Perfect. But, where was Blaine? We don't even know if he was in the Bahamas. He could have been in the Virgin Islands. He could have been, you know, in Japan. He could have been sitting off the coast of Florida. We don't know where Blaine and his wife were at the time that they were talking or recording. So, yeah, we're saying the Bahamas for Brian and Lynette, but it also does factor in, you know, where was Blaine and his wife at the time as well. But Lynette's daughter has spoken out publicly and questioned her stepfather's version of events. That's important because the family's suspicion proves guilt, potentially, but because the family often knows relation history, prior conflicts and behavior patterns that are outside, that outsiders do not know. The Independent also reported, so it must be the Independent publication, also reported the couple had a history that included mutual allegations of assault in the past. And the reason why they say mutual is because it was Lynette that went to jail. The charges were ultimately dropped. And I want to say, you know, like, even when it doesn't matter who goes to jail, it's who the aggressor is, right? It's who the aggressor is. And just because you're a hothead by the time the cops get there, or the guy lies or something like that, sometimes you just have to go through the walk. For me, I've defended myself. There's been people that have put their hands on me, and I have knocked the kingdom come, and I have to take a walk. Did I have a right to knock them to kingdom come? I absolutely did have a right to knock them to kingdom come. They have no right to put their damn hands on me. So yeah, I had to take a walk to jail, but it was defense. So what do they do with that? They can't charge you. They can't charge you. So, and why is this important? Because Gabby Petito was about to go to jail in Moab. And many people believe if she would have went to jail, even though she wasn't the aggressor, that she might still be alive today. But they didn't take her to jail because they didn't want to take a female to jail. Now, she was never the aggressor, but that's what Brian was trying to point out to law enforcement, that she was the one that was aggressive. And of course, the woman that's being beaten is not going to argue. She would rather take a walk to jail than blame her boyfriend. That's just the way it is. I was an abused teenager. My boyfriend was very abusive to me. I was abused as a 20-year-old. I can tell you, we would rather go than, as sick as that sounds, as disgusting and sick as that sounds, we would rather go to jail than them. Because we don't want to deal with them when they get out of jail, because it'll be 10 or 20 or 30 times worse than it was before they went in. And the people know that. So even though she went to jail, I think that was more of, if you do this again, I'll throw you back there. So I think he used that over her head to keep her from calling law enforcement ever again on him. There's also social media dimension. The couple had been documenting their travel on the sailing hookers. We also have, the speculation. If Lynette truly fell overboard during the rough conditions, why does the digital evidence reportedly point the investigation elsewhere? These are questions that Brian's not cooperating. He's not answering them. They can't call him and say, hey, your GPS is saying you're over here. Why were you over here? They have to call the attorney, and the attorney's saying, my client's not answering your question, or they may call them and say, hey, they found that you were over here, were you over here? Well, yeah, I was over here. Well, why were you over here? I was over here for the keys or whatever. Or maybe he just says, do I have to answer that? And they say no. And he says, I don't want to answer that. And then they call back and say, I don't want to answer that. The missing woman who ran off in South Carolina, her husband, former police, is a private investigator. They were married 16 years. I'm hearing about this woman in South Carolina. Somebody reached out to me. I think it was Lori reached out to me by email and was talking to me about it. I'm reading that story. And to me, it sounds like she might be potential for self-harm, or she ran off because she's unhappy with her relationship. I can't quite figure out why she would leave the Planet Fitness and walk toward the woods. But I don't know many people that exercise, get a whole bunch of endorphins, and then walk out into and even want to feel self-harming, because usually the endorphins give you almost a high, if you will. A lot of people work out just to get that high. It's something that when you work out, you get those endorphins pumping in your body. So hearing her walk toward the woods, and it sounds like she looked confused and disoriented on the DoorDash video. Was she drugged? Is it possibly she was drugged at somewhere that she was at? Because to me, it sounded like she was at the gym for 2 hours, a little over 2 hours working out. People don't, what was she doing at the gym that would disorient her? That's what but what you hear is the husband says, my wife is not well. And not that I always take the husband's word for it, because, you never know. He might be using that. He might be very abusive. We don't know what goes on behind their doors. There might be a lot of domestic violence, and she's used, she works out just to keep her mind off the domestic violence. We don't know. But we know that he said she wasn't well. Why wasn't she well? Is it because she's got depression? Is it because she's got some other psychological issues? Or is it because there's a lot of abuse in the house that she doesn't know how to handle or get out of? We always tell people sometimes you have to walk away from everything to get out of an abusive relationship. And while I'm not saying that here, I'm just saying there's more here to this story. Could be meds, anything. And that's what I'm talking about. If she does have psychological disorders and she stopped taking medication, that could also be a contributing part to this. But it's her walking off, her willing, and it sounds like that's a statement of fact. Let me see the missing woman in South Carolina. I'll read some stuff if you guys don't quite know about it. Hold on. Here it is. Her name's Elena Catherine Moore, and the woman is missing in South Carolina after leaving a Planet Fitness and walking toward a wooded area. This is what I know, is that the husband has made declarations before that his wife is not well. And this is not one where, she walked into a house and never walked out of it. This is something where she was out in the public alone. and it seems like having a normal day until the end of her day, and then she walks away. Nancy Grace is said there is no active search, just couldn't believe it, that he sounds worse than Pima County. It sounds worse than Pima County. There's no active search, and there was a delayed reporting. So the husband delayed reported, and that's always a problem. When the husband when somebody is supposed to be somewhere that they're supposed to be, especially when you're married. Okay, if I chose not to come home, the only person that would notice would be my neighbor. Okay, um, nobody, if I went out and didn't make it home and I was deceased, nobody would really know it probably for, I would say, I don't know, at least 24 or 48 hours. I think my neighbor, my mom would probably be reaching out to my neighbor. My neighbor would probably be saying I didn't see her. People online would start getting worried because they haven't seen me and I'm regularly posting something. So that just by my silence would probably, start getting somebody noticing. So I mean, I still believe it would be 24 hours, but when you're married, when you have a husband and you have a schedule and you're not home by that schedule or by that time, people get worried, and when you pass that time by hours, they get worried. They don't go to bed and just go to sleep and say, buddy, no, we would know. That's what I'm saying. I mean, you guys would notice because I'd be absent, but I still think it would take 24 hours because sometimes I don't come on first thing in the morning. Sometimes it's the afternoon, and some people may be like, wait a minute, we didn't hear from Betty yesterday at all. Did anybody see any posts from Betty? No, we haven't seen any posts from Betty. Did you hear I call her? Because people call me. This is the thing. People call me. I don't answer my phone. So I call most people back because I'm around my phone 24/7. I'm around two phones 24/7, but I got my phone with a gatekeeper, so my phone doesn't ring. I cut everybody off so I can do these lives and not have my phone ringing from people and text messages that are blocking my lips and my sound and stuff like that. So here's the details of this story. She's 39 years old and she was last seen at Planet Fitness on Thursday, and she was walking toward a wooded area. Originally, they didn't know she was at the Planet Fitness. They believe that she's an employee at like Wolf Fitness or something, which is pretty weird. Like, why would she be a fitness trainer at one gym and then work out at another gym instead of having a membership at the gym? It's just weird. But anyways, they did locate her, and then they did realize that she was in fact at the Planet Fitness, and it sounds like she was there for almost 2 hours. She was wearing an olive green zip up hoodie and black athletic pants. Moore is described as a white woman with brown hair, brown eyes. She's 5'7" and weighs about 120 pounds. She's beautiful. She's a beautiful young lady. So Moore was reported missing Friday by someone who told police that she frequented the Planet Fitness gym. Further investigation revealed that she had signed into the location on June 11th at 6:40. No further contact with the missing person was reported. Officers searched for her Officers searched for her with the help of a drone, but did not find her. Police said Moore did not have a vehicle, and that it is not clear whether she had her mobile phone. Okay, so that does make sense a little more, to be honest with you. So she didn't have a car. How was she getting around? She was walking. Why doesn't she have a car? That's a question I have. She doesn't have a vehicle. That may be why she was going to the wooded area. She was walking. I don't like now. I'm starting to see. See, I thought she had a car and she walked to the wooded area, and because she walked to the wood, that doesn't make sense. But if she didn't have a vehicle and she was leaving on foot and she didn't have a vehicle, that would make more sense why she's going to the wooded area. She might be going there to do a cut through. I've twice overslept in my life and had paramedics sent to my house for a wellness check. Oh, good gracious. Her husband towed the car. So she did have a car. Her car was in the parking lot of Lowe's. Then why does this say she didn't have a car? Police said that, oh, maybe she didn't have a car with her. Okay, because it was in the parking lot. Okay, maybe that's what it says. But it read all kinds of funky. This is what the paragraph read. Officers searched for her with the help of a drone but did not find her. Police said Moore did not have a vehicle and it's not clear whether she has her mobile phone. Well, Planet Fitness, you have to have your mobile phone to check in. You have to have the mobile app and you have to scan the mobile app. I used to be a Planet Fitness member for years. Betty, it was a strip mall. Her car was parked 2 buildings down from Planet Fitness. Did she walk toward her car or did she walk someplace else? Could somebody have called her and said, hey, meet me over here? Or I'm having car problems or something like that? In the DoorDash video, she had her phone and keys. Okay, so now I understand why people are starting to get concerned. Because usually if she's going to do self-harm, they usually leave the phone behind. Does anybody know where the phone last pinged? On Monday, officers again searched for Moore in the wooded area behind the Planet Fitness in Lowe's with help from her Lexington County Sheriff's Department, because this is what I'm wondering. If her husband's a PI, could he have called her and said, hey, I'm over at the Lowe's, when you get done, come over and see me? And then she's calling, I'm walking out of the fitness now while I'm loading up something at the docks behind the Lowe's. Meet me back here. I mean, I'm just trying, because everybody online, from what I'm hearing, is blaming the husband. There's no trace of Miss Moore was found during this operation. Police continue. Did they ever even bring out search dogs? I get so sick of these small towns, and this is in South Carolina. They should have more to do, but I feel like there's something doesn't sound right here. Are we sure she's not walking away from a very toxic, abusive relationship? I just want to make sure we cross all the stuff off the list before we, dive in on the husband. In the DoorDash video, she had her phone and keys, so there should be some good pings. There should be some good data trails for her. Good morning, Holly. I hope you're doing well, love. She acted like the DoorDash driver and acted like she was going to walk to their house. Huh. So she was in a sketchy relation still working out 2 hours, feeling safe. The apartment she lived in was 1.4 miles away from Planet Fitness. What is her name? Alina Catherine Moore in South Carolina. Alina Catherine Moore. They also own a house on a lake 7 miles. Oh. Have they searched the lake? Well, this is typically what I do know of. I know that if it's her husband, he would have had to hide her body. He would have went to a place he felt comfortable. If it was not, then there was somebody else in her sphere. And the only thing I can think of is somebody contacted her. Show a pic. There she is. Alina Catherine Moore. So she's a fitness instructor, from what I'm understanding, at one facility, and she had gotten off work or something like that and went to another. I'm still a little hazy on the details, and I'm still confused why she works at one fitness center but yet works out at another. I mean, maybe for safety, maybe because that's her job and she doesn't want to be at her job. Maybe if they had, I don't know. She's gorgeous. She has options. She didn't just walk away. Yeah, but her guy, he looks like a meathead. Her guy looks like a meathead. Here's her at the, let me see if I can pull up some photos here. Hold on. So there she is at the gym. This is what she was wearing. It's like a olive purple zippy up thing, you know, in black, and she had her hair up. I mean, she wasn't going on a date, you know. That's for sure. She wasn't going on a date, but her dude's a meathead. You can find something with his picture in it. I've seen his picture, and I don't know why I'm not seeing his picture. Let me do. Search husband. I saw her husband, but I don't see her husband in these photos. Let's see if I can click on this and go look it up on maybe X. Copy. I saw the photo. I don't know where I saw it though. That's the problem. I did see his photo, but he looks like a meathead. Not to be disrespectful. I mean, I guess I am kind of being disrespectful. It's not my intent, but I don't see the photo of the husband. I saw a photo of the husband, but everything I'm looking for, I don't know what his name is. Let me do name. What's his name? And then we'll look him up. Name. I saw a picture of them two together, but whatever's on this. Okay, his name is Brannon Slice. Brannon Slice. That's a weird name. Is that a stage name of some sort? Brandon Slice. Let's see if we got some images of him. There he is. There he is, right there. That's her husband, right there. I'm sorry, he's a past law enforcement officer and apparently a PI. I'm not trying to be rude. Again, not trying to be rude. I'm just, he looks like a meathead to me. Okay? So this is her husband.
Hey, my name is Brandon Slice, and I'm a private investigator. Prior to being a private investigator, I worked for the Lexington County Sheriff's Department.
He seems nice.
And my job here with the Snell Law Firm is I'm a private investigator for the office, and I meet with clients whenever they come in for whatever problem, if there's witnesses that need to be spoke to, or any kind of thing to help prepare your case for trial is what I do. One thing I'll say is from day one, whenever you come to Snell Law Firm, cases handled professionally and properly. It's a very stressful time whenever you come in to an attorney's office for whatever reason it is. Something happened that didn't go right, and you don't want to have to stress over wondering what's going on. You're always going to be kept in the loop through his office. Mr. Snell's created a staff that's like no other. They cater to your needs and they customize a case plan for everybody that walks through the office. You're never going to have to worry about whether or not things are being handled properly in your case to get the best outcome available.
All right. So there's the husband. He seems normal. I got no negative things to say about the man. Very interesting that we also have a Brittany Slice on here next to a Brannon Slice, and they work for the Snell Law Group. Is this an ex-wife? When was this recorded? 2026. So maybe this is his sister? Oh, this is from 2024. Did they have a falling out? Was there a love triangle? Did he have an affair with, his new wife? Somebody came in here and said that they've been married for 16 years. I heard that they were recently married. Here they are. Right there. I don't know. I think she might have been, I think she looks younger than him. She might have been out of his league. She might have been, I don't know. I'm just saying this, something ain't right. And if he did have past law enforcement experience, how are you going to tell me with him being a PI and a past law enforcement, he's going to have delayed reporting? Are there children involved? I doubt it, because it doesn't sound like they've been married very long. Let's find out. Let's see how long they've been married. Let me go back to that one. How long have they been married? Not even a year. Not even a year. Elena and Brannon have been married approximately 1 year. That's not long. No, open-minded, you're wrong. They've only been married because he was with another woman in 2025 or 2024. He was with another woman in 2024. Let me look this back up. This was his wife. This was his wife. Hold on. Brannon Slice. Videos. Brandon Slice. Here's his wife right here. This was recorded July 1st, 2024. This is his wife. This was his wife then.
I was in a car accident and I actually had just got hired here. So I was coming back from a work event and it was
That's his wife.
It was raining.
In 2024.
I couldn't see the road and I hit a and I needed help with that situation. And so I went back to the office and we talked about it, and Mr. Snow helped me with that case. It got dismissed. It made me feel so much less pressure about my, self and the situation. It was handled very well. I highly recommend it. They will help you through everything that you need to go through because they know exactly what you need to know. You have a lot of professional individuals that know a lot about the law, and they're willing to go the extra mile for you. So anybody that actually comes in our office, when they leave, they're always well prepared.
Okay, so that's his ex-wife. Her name is, hold on. Her name is Brittany Slice. His ex-wife. Brittany Slice is his ex-wife. His new wife he's only been married to her for about a year. I heard so much mixed information. That's why I'm breaking it down for you. So that is quick. I mean, he's with her in 2024 and he just got married because they've been married a year. It's 2026. That means he just got married in 2025. So I kind of have a feeling that this is too close to another relationship, a recording with a lady with his last name on it that looks like his wife, his ex-wife. So I'd have to assume that this is his ex-wife. I mean, I can't imagine it being his sister. I think it's his ex-wife. It seems like it would be his ex-wife. So that would be his ex-wife. What I don't like here is that he is past law enforcement and he's a PI and he had delayed reporting. What does delayed reporting mean? That means your loved one was missing long before you reported them missing. Typically, when you're a parent and you wake up and your child is not in their bed, you call law enforcement within minutes, right? Within seconds in many cases. When you're married and your wife's supposed to be in your bed and she doesn't come home at night and you don't call law enforcement until the next afternoon, that's delayed reporting. Most people, when your loved one doesn't come home, when they're always home and you call them and they don't answer the phone, the first thing people think is, oh my gosh, my loved one has gotten into a car wreck or has been injured or incapacitated somehow. So the first thing you do is start calling around to the hospitals. When you know somebody's not at the hospitals, you start calling law enforcement and saying, hey, was my wife reported in any accident? Justin on the clutch last night was showing a different wedding anniversary picture that they were guaranteed married for 16 years. I've got every report they've been married under a year. That's why when you came in here 16 years, I'm like, that's not what I heard. They've only been married. This lady here, she hasn't even changed her last name. They have been married probably less than a year, not even quite a full year. And he had already previously posted that his wife was. Now, I think maybe his other wife, I think he might be talking about Brittany Slice being married to him for, 16 years. And maybe they were before they got a divorce. But everything I've heard reported about this case, this lady here, Elena, has been married to him in less than a year. I will have Justin send his information. It doesn't matter what Justin sends me. Well, I guess it does. If it's legitimate, I'll look at it. But according to the reports that we're getting from everybody, that's inaccurate. I don't know. Let me look up. Give me just a second. I'll let you know in just a second. Let's see what we got here. Brandon Slice. This is in South Carolina. Looks, so we'll just, okay, so Brandon, it's Lexington, South Carolina. He's 47 years old. Sorry, I have allergies. Let's go in here. So he's even got, it looks like a different person for marriages, and it's Alina Faith LaSalle. Alina Faith LaSalle. And they were married in 2006. But that person there, they're not, that's not who we're dealing with here. This is not Alina Faith LaSalle. I think that must be what he's pulling up here because I'm looking at the background. And they were married in June 24th, 2026. But this is a totally different person. This is Elena Faith LaSalle, and she's 43 years old. And the lady that's missing is Elena. So one's Alina, and this lady's name is Elena, Elena. So they're two different people. They're not the same person. But I do see what he was talking about. He's got the wrong person, unfortunately. He's got his prior wife. And while they may have similar names, they're not spelt the same. Let's see. This is Alina Catherine Moore, not Elena. Oops. Hold on. It's Alina Catherine Moore. And this one is Elena LaSalle Craft. Let me go back to, no, it's not the one I want. I want to go back. How do I go back to my reporting? Reports, Brandon Slice. Here we go. It even shows the officiante, whoever did the thing, and their parents, which is nice. So this is Elena Faith LaSalle, and the other one is Alina E. One starts with an A, Alina Faith LaSalle, and the other one is Elena Catherine Moore, or Catherine, is it Catherine Moore? Elena Catherine Moore versus Lena Faith LaSalle. Two totally different people. But yes, I can see where that is. They were married. The Alina Faith LaSalle, totally different person, was married June 4th, 2026. So that must have been his sister that was on there. That was a slice because that was, I can't remember what her name was. Her name is Brittany. So unless he had a third wife, which would not look good if he did, that must be his sister. So I'll get to the bottom of this, but the person that's missing, they were married less than a year. They were married less than a year. Kawasaki, yes, she's a foreigner from Ukraine or Russia. I can't remember. Who? Elena is? That's why he said she had different last names. She was Russian and adopted and all that. There is a video of the husband talking, yes. Meathead. That's confusing. Is she foreign? Betty, any DV issues? I'm sure there are DV issues. I mean, that's usually what I don't see anything on the record though. I haven't looked in. He also hasn't came out with any posts reported looking for her or anything. Well, I heard that he posted that his wife's not well and deleted it. So, Alina Faith LaSalle, and they were married. But I remember all the reports that I saw that this husband and wife had just recently got married in less than a year. So again, I don't know who these people are, but they're different people. Their names are spelt differently. They're different last names, different middle names, and the only thing the same is their first name may sound similar, but other than that, their middle and last names are different. So let me pull up this the other lady here. Let me pull the background for Alina Faith LaSalle, and then we'll look up his current wife. And she goes by no other name other than Kraft. She might go by the name Kraft. It sounds like she remarried a Kraft. That's what it sounds like. Let's see what we got here. Hold on. She was born October 1982. She is Alina F. LaSalle Slice, Alina F. Slice. And then she is now Alina F. Kraft. She is now officially, as a 2013, here it is, proof right here. She's remarried. Oh, maybe I can't put that. Can I put that? Make sure there's no personal information there. Hold on. Okay, there's not. So there she is. She's married a Blase Kraft in 2013. So she's not married to Brannon Slice anymore because she's remarried to another person by the name of Kraft in 2013, June 2013, and that was done by Reverend Lloyd Francis. And so that 16-year relationship, unfortunately, that Justin was speaking of was a prior marriage. It wasn't the lady that went missing. So again, they had similar names but different people. They're completely different people. And she was married to him, it sounds like 3 or 4 years, because she got remarried, in 2013, and that would have been 5-6 years after they had married. So it sounds like they didn't even last a full 10 years before they were divorced and his wife moved on. His ex-wife had moved on. So I don't know how many ex-wives. That would be interesting. Was there abuse? I have a funny feeling we're going to find out that this guy's abusive. He's from the South. He's which doesn't necessarily. Me personally, it seems like men from the South that don't really have very good relationships with their mom are more physically dominant, in my opinion. It's like Betty, but I understand, but the lady's remarried to another person. So you guys are trying to argue whether it's Elena or Alina, trying to say they're the same people. The same people have the same, even if it's spelt differently, they still have the same middle name and the last name. This lady the middle name and last name are different, and I just looked it up, and she's remarried to a different person altogether. She's not even with Brandon Slice. So they got married in 2006. By 2013, this same person, Elena, LaSalle, is now married to another guy by the name of something Kraft. So we can conclude that the Elena and Alina are two totally different people. So, and Alina was just married to, I don't care. I know people, listen, Justin makes mistakes too. Okay. I'm pretty sure once he sees what I'm doing and he goes back and looks at the paperwork, he's probably going to walk some of that back. He probably, like you guys, got into the Elena type of thing and thought maybe they were the same person. They're not. They're two totally different people. I just confirmed it. And the lady's remarried to somebody else in 2013. She's not even with Brandon. So even if this was a foreigner that changed their name, they're not changing their middle name or their last name to something totally different. They usually have their name in their given language and they convert it to the American language of theirs. But this person already had an American name. They had Elena Faith LaSalle. That's American name. And then we had Alina Catherine Moore. That sounds like an American name, but you guys are saying she's a foreigner. I don't know. I've never heard her talk. It seems like, they're from the country. It seems like she would have a Southern drawl, not a Russian accent. So, I don't know where Russia came from. It's my problem. I don't know where Russia came from. But the Elena that was married to him in 2006, she's divorced from him and she remarried somebody else. So yeah, they're similar names. They're pronunciated a little slightly different, Elena and Alina, but they have different middle names. They have different marriage dates. And the lady that's missing has only been married to this guy for about a year. So that's the reality of this case. And this is and he's saying that she has problems. The only reason why I think I'm pandering to him potentially being suspected of DV is because DV is a way to that somebody would not be right upstairs. We know that. We know that you have to fix your brain when you're in a domestic violence situation. The fact that he's saying this within their first year of marriage. Remember when we were talking about Monique Tepe? If you guys don't know the Tepe case, I recommend you looking into it. So this is a lady that was married to a doctor. His name was something McGee. And they had been divorced. It was really crazy because she got married to him, and then there was just this really hush, quiet, very quick rush divorce. She just wanted out of this marriage, and she went ahead and moved back home, and they got a divorce, and she got remarried. 8 years later, he decides to go and murder her and her new husband, and this is. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because when she married her husband, she was with I think his name was Michael McGee. But she was with him for several years, like 5 years or something, and then got married to him. Something happened, and within 10 months of marriage, she wanted a quickie divorce and just wanted nothing more to do with him. And I truly believe he beat her within an inch of her life, and it scared the crap out of her. And she's like, I'm not living the rest of my life like this. And this is what's coming to my mind when I'm hearing about this Alina and them being together only a year, and now she's missing. It seems like there is, she has documented schizophrenia and bipolar. That could be a problem. That could explain some of the stuff we're seeing. How did you find that out? I haven't read that. Open-minded. Where did you find that out from? It is believed her medication had something to do with it. By the DoorDash. Somebody said she was looking disoriented. And that's why I said, if you missed it, I don't know if you were here. And I said maybe she was drugged inside the gym. Dude, if the lady wants to leave, just let her go. Stop the violence. Yeah, well, there may not be any violence. I want to be very clear. We're speculating here. We're calling the guy a meathead because he's built like a brick shit house. He looks like he's a jock, and I call jocks meatheads. So that's kind of why, but it doesn't necessarily, we have no evidence right now that he's abusive, but it's just, we're speculating that, what would do this. Now, if she is truly documented schizophrenic and bipolar, she didn't take her medication. Well, that can explain a lot of this. She might be at a homeless camp for all we know. I mean, really, seriously. Yeah, it was Mike McKee. Yeah, that was it. And the reason why I brought up Mike McKee and Monique Tepe is because there was something that triggered, they were together for years. She got married to him, and there was something that triggered her to immediately file for, not just immediately file, but quick rush it through. Like she paid extra money to have their divorce immediately seen by a judge. Like something happened where she wanted out of that marriage. She wanted out. She didn't want anything. She just wanted her car. She wanted to leave. So the only time I ever see anything like that is when somebody is beaten to the within an inch of their life and it scares them. Buddy, you're trying to debate me again. I was saying nobody wins in a toxic relationships. Well, I'm a debater. What can I say? It's better than, no, I should stop. I was gonna say debater's better than a. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But it sounds like that's what it is. But at least we got down to the Alina LaSalle is now Alina Kraft. So she's a prior. Their ages are different too. Let's look up Alina. Hold on. Let me look up Alina. Alina Catherine Moore. South Carolina. Let's see if we find in hers. $39. So she is younger than him by several years. Give me a second. We're working through it. So these are two totally different people. Because the other one was 43. This lady's 39. Completely months of birth, dates of birth. But definitely. Okay, so there's not a whole lot. Let me see here. She's lived in Utah. She's lived in Florida, Jacksonville. But mostly in South Carolina, like for everything else. I'm trying to see if I can see anything. It doesn't show their marriage. Their marriage is so new that it's not even showing them being married. Let me get the additional data and see if we can find out anything from that. Okay, well, she has a very scant photo where she's basically nude, covering her boobs, like with her hands. I can't even show it as possible photos. So this is not a very good. This is the first time I've seen something like that on my background check. Whoa, that's a little too much skin there, lady. So yeah, She's been arrested for criminal domestic violence, which to me sounds like, let's find out when that was. Greenwood. So if there's domestic violence coming from her, that was in 2006, around the time that he married that other lady. I don't know how it went, but that was back in 2006. That was 20 years ago, obviously. I mean, we do have, like I said, in histories, if you go in people's histories, that's why, like, even in Tommaso and Annie's, I say you can find certain things that start giving you indications of things. And when it came to Tommaso and Annie, they only had, having phone in their hand when they're not supposed to be driving, running stop signs, speeding. They had a lot of speeding citations, but nothing that indicated violence, substance abuse, alcohol abuse, stealing, theft, those types of things. None of that stuff was in any of their history. Like, even this lady, she's got a history that already tells you that, people that are accustomed to domestic violence, not everybody has a DV in their history. Is there DV in this case? Well, we definitely have DV now. Now, it was prior to her marriage to Brannon. But at the end of the day, there is DV in her history. So this kind of changes things a little bit. It doesn't mean that there's any DV in this household. I'm not saying that. We haven't stretched that. But now we have an actual history that has DV in it, that has documented DV in it. So that is important. Okay, that is important. Many women, especially 20 years ago, this would probably be a Gabby Petito situation. This means that the husband, the boyfriend and girlfriend got into a fight, and one person probably failed to say, yes, they hit me, but the other person pulled aside, just knew that that person was going to say, yeah, they hit them. So instead of them just telling the truth and saying, no, she didn't hit me, they're covering their ass so they don't go to jail, and says, yeah, she hit me. And well, she just told the officer, well, he never hit me. Well, she's going to jail because she told the officer he never hit me, and he tells the officer, well, she hit me. Even though they both were fighting, right? And they were both one probably started it and the other person was defending it. So it's tough, but again, unless you are a domestic violence culprit or a domestic violence victim, you don't understand the domestic violence. It's unless you have somebody like, for example, Darlene, she wasn't dealing with it, so she didn't have the psychological stuff with it, but she was watching her daughter go through it, and she still wanted to have a good relationship with her daughter. So she found ways to deal with the domestic violence, but the domestic violence ultimately took her daughter's life. And that's where we're at now in the Lynette Hooker case. I mean, how ironic is it that we're talking about one DV case and now we've got this one? And it's like, I looked at the guy and I thought, okay, he looks a little older than her, and he's already saying some pretty derogatory things, in light of her missing, like she's not right upstairs or whatever the case may be. And now people are saying she's got schizophrenia and this, that, and the other. Where are people finding that? Because I'm not seeing that in her history here. So it's got to be. Let me do one other thing. Maybe let me see if there's some medical stuff that I'm missing. Hold on here. Does she have documented mental health issues that have been publicized? It right here, it's going through all of this stuff, and they said no confirmed No official confirmation of documented health issues have been released, law enforcement or her immediate family, but specific details have surfaced within community reports and unverified footage during the investigation. Official police stance: the Lexington Police Department has not formally cited a mental health diagnosis in their public missing person bulletin. Investigator Missy Silcox stated that the police do not suspect foul play and do not believe she is in immediate danger. A week before her disappearance, doorbell camera footage surfaced showing Alina exhibiting disturbing behavior, which community members and local Whisk 10 coverage noted appeared to resemble a mental health episode while mimicked a delivery driver. So that must have been what people were referring to as the DoorDash. Unverified community reports on missing person forums such as Reddit, unverified local accounts claim she has been voluntarily seeking care at Three Rivers Behavioral Health Facility shortly before she vanished. So, friends, perspectives. Her family, Lauren Beasley, told media outlets that they had spoken about a month prior, and that Elena seemed normal in her energetic self. If you would like to know more, can you expand on what she was doing related to the delivery driver, or exhibiting what people state as a mental health issue? The residential door camera footage, which was captured about a week before her disappearance, shows Alina Catherine Moore following a food delivery driver and attempting to enter a stranger's apartment. Here it is. Mimicking a DoorDash, and there she is on camera trying to get into their apartment. So we do have some mental health. I would have to say, whether they're publicly documented or not, to me, there's enough here that would support potentially a mental health break of sorts. So this doesn't necessarily mean that the husband, I know people online are speculating that the husband did it, but there's something about her walking away and walking toward the woods that didn't, but now that we're starting to see this, because I thought that she would be eligible for self-harm, based upon what we've known about people, because we've watched, we've heard of people, but usually they leave their keys behind, their wallet behind, their phone behind, so they can't be tracked. It sounds like people spotted that she had her cell phone and her keys on her at the time she walked toward the woods. This is interesting. The Lexington Police Department released photos of footage to the public to help people identify her current appearance, but details of the incident quickly spread on local news and social media. Following the driver, according to the community reports and Hindu Times coverage of the video, Elena was filmed closely following a DoorDash delivery driver up the stairs of a local apartment complex. Taking the food, after the driver left the order, she picked up the food delivery. The order was not hers, and she did not live at the apartment or building. Did she steal dinner? Signs of confusion. The footage reportedly shows her looking closely at the delivery receipt with visible confusion. Attempted entry. When the actual resident of the apartment opened the front door to retrieve their food, Alina handed the order over, but immediately attempted to follow the stranger inside their home. What people described as disturbing behavior on platforms like Facebook and true crime forums, community members describe her actions as a mental episode or disturbing Because of her total detachment from the situation rather than acting maliciously, observers noted she appeared highly disoriented, entirely confused about where she was, and seemingly believed she belonged in the building or was mimicking a delivery worker. Police have emphasized that they do not suspect foul play. I'd have to say that there's enough to support that her husband may not have done this. I don't know why everybody's screaming that this is domestic violence or potential domestic violence. This doesn't seem domestic violence at all. It seems like something a little different. Could this have been because of maybe abuse in the home that maybe have triggered these episodes? Possibly, but sometimes retired law enforcement are just that. They're retired law enforcement. They're not abusive. They believe in the law, and maybe when he married her a year ago, he didn't realize she had mental health. Maybe she had it in check. Maybe she was taking her medications. Maybe he was not. He was none the wiser. And then bada bing, bada boom, they may have moved too fast in a marriage, and now he's got a very sick wife that he doesn't know how to manage. And next thing you know, she's running into the woods and missing. Maybe that's why this may not have been the first time that he's dealing with this. I'm starting not to feel that this is like, I'm starting to feel like this, I don't know, could be either at this point if her meds are at home too, who knows? Or it could have just been, because one thing, if she is schizophrenic, let me just put this out. This is something I know about because I have experience with two schizophrenics. One was my ex-husband's stepson. He was very schizophrenic. We tried to help him after his mom died, but I couldn't handle it. Okay. And my neighbors couldn't handle it because he would, while we were at work, he would just strip down butt naked and start running down the street like he's on fire. I mean, he was insane. I can't do it. But I also know, and the reason why he did that is because he hated taking his medication. He hated taking his medication. And so we would give him his medication. I'm an adult, okay? I don't think I need to look under somebody's freaking tongue for medication. Apparently, when you have a schizophrenic, you've got to. I was unaware. It's not my kid. He was an adult at the time. We're just trying to help him out. I'm not dealing with somebody that's screaming and pounding the chest and beating their head against the wall and running down the frickin' street, butt ass naked. And, Glenn's calling me saying he's out of the house again. And we're like, well, what the do we do? It's like, it's insanity. So, and then the other time was when I was at the sober living environment, Tammy House in Northport. There was an older lady there, very docile. Not definitely. I mean, that was my first experience with schizophrenia, and I thought, okay, this is not too bad. So, when we heard about his stepson needing, a place, we're like, oh, okay. I'm thinking that, her, where she would just, sit in the back of the room, and as long as she had her sunglasses on, she felt invisible. It's like she thought she had her sunglasses on and her hat on. She thought she was invisible, like she could just move around and nobody saw her. It's crazy. She would write all over the walls. There was writing all over the walls. It was insane. It was insane writing. It was stuff that didn't make sense. She filled up books and books and books and books of stuff. All craziness. You didn't quite understand what was written all over the book. So that's my first experience. That's what I thought. But I didn't quite understand, I didn't understand that they're actually hearing voices. They're actually seeing things that aren't there. That I never understood, but I finally did get it. And it was insane and intense. So I don't know what degree of schizophrenia she has, if she has it, again, speculative. We don't know anything about her medical history for sure. This is all speculative. But I can tell you everything I'm hearing right now is not boding that the husband murdered his wife. Okay. This is kind of boding like she had a freaking mental health break and God knows where she is. You know, she could literally, some of these people that have these mental health breaks wind up in they wind up at a lot of different places, but most of them wind up in homeless shelters. They don't know who they are. They don't have a name. They go in there and they're just disoriented. They need a place to sleep. They don't know where they're at. They wind up in homeless shelters. So I don't know what's going on. But I don't know. I think we need more information. I'm hearing that people, I know that because of what I read yesterday, I wasn't going to talk about this, but people were in the chat talking about it. So I figured we might as well go on ahead and chat. But yesterday, when I was hearing about the case, it really kind of pointed toward the husband, the delayed reporting, and stuff like that. But the more I'm reading into this, the more I'm starting to think that this has nothing to do with the husband. This has nothing to do with domestic violence, that this is truly a lady that ran off, for whatever reason, whether she lost her cookies or something like that. Now, when they're in that state, that's a very dangerous state for them to be in. Okay. So I'm not dismissing this as she's out of the woodworks or safe. I don't believe that. I believe absolutely the opposite. I think that she's actually in more danger than less danger. So I do think it's imperative, but I don't think we're looking for a dead person. I think we're looking for a missing person, which is a very good sign, right? That's a very good sign. We want missing people. We don't want dead people. So I'm not here where I think she's been a victim of foul play or homicide. I think she's a victim of maybe mental health disease. So we'll wait and reserve some commentary on here and see how this pans out. This might actually be a good case that has a positive, ending. We hope. We don't know what she had with her. Some people that have these mental health breaks run into the woods, and you guys know what happens. We had another lady. Remember that lady? And where was it? North Carolina, Georgia, where she went to the Waffle House. She did all this stuff, and then she bought all these items, and then she went out to the woods and took a handful of pharmaceuticals and tried to set her tarp and everything on fire. She tried to unalive herself and then cremate herself. Like, it was, and everybody thought it was foul play, and everybody thought it was her daughter and everything. Like, I remember going out to her house and covering the story and everything like that. Yeah, I remember that case. Yeah, it was really weird. I think it was like in Augusta or something like that. Georgia. I was up at it was up at the top of Georgia. I remember I was covering the Lake and Riley case or something like that. Maybe it wasn't Lake and Riley. It might have been another Georgia case. It might have been Quentin Simon. But I remember the case was like 5 hours away from where I was sitting, and or several hours away from where I was sitting. Vaguely remember it. And it was a lady that she had just had enough. And she went out and went to like several different restaurants and had all of her favorite food. And everybody thought it was her daughter and her daughter's boyfriend that tried to, unalive her. And there was recordings of this lady being all by herself when she did everything, all by herself. And she went up and it was a self-harm situation. And then she tried to, take the thing and set the fire, so by the time she passed out and the fire engulfed her, like there would be nothing left. I think that she just wanted to disappear. I think she was in one of those things where she just really wanted to disappear, and it just didn't work out for her, and they did ultimately find her. But so we do have some weird things where people have mental health breaks and they do some stuff to themselves. I'm hoping that that's not the case, but we don't know what she had access to. I mean, we're hearing that her husband was a former law enforcement. He's a PI. I have to think that there's firearms in the house. Did she get a hold of one? That's very scary because I remember, with Brian Laundrie, the neighbor, we talked to the neighbor and she remembers him on the 15th. This is the day he got into his Mustang and went out to the Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park. And she said he was gone for a little while. He just pulled into the driveway. He had been there she didn't even say he was there very long. And then all of a sudden he's walking out with a brown paper bag. She thought it was his lunch. She didn't think anything of it. And she just went about her business. And now hindsight's 2020, we realized that brown paper bag had the firearm in it that he used to do self-harm out there in the Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park. So, do we know whether all of the husband's firearms are accounted for? Or did they make sure all the Benadryl's in the house? Are they making sure? I'm pretty sure if she walked out into the wooded area, she would have, well, depending on how involved the wooded area is there a possibility she's somewhere they didn't search or covered up somehow? If not, then what about their other recordings? Is there any type of door or dash cam of her coming out on the other side of the wooded area, and like where she is walking in a different direction? Are we sure she didn't just want to divorce her husband and she just got on left everything behind, got on a bus and left? Has people reached out to her family to make sure that she didn't wind up on anybody's doorstep? There's just a lot of things that are going through my mind. The good thing is, the one thing that's not going through my mind just yet is a self-harm, like the actual action of the self-harm, and a homicide. Those are not crossing my minds at this juncture. We do have a problem here, but now that we've done a little bit looking under the hood, this case does sound a little more promising than it did when we started. Like when you guys first started talking about it in the chat, I was thinking that she was a victim of domestic violence. Now I'm starting to walk some of that back because of what I've seen. The boss, nice to meet you, and thank you for the reply. I don't deal with chicks anymore because then I have to buy them birthdays and Christmas gifts. Open-minded. The only rule here is don't be a Richard. And you're talking, I don't date anymore because I don't want to do this and I don't want to do that. You're a Richard. You pull that stick out of the butt. Go date somebody. Go ask the neighbor lady to go out to dinner with you. I'm just saying. Go spend some money. I don't like spending money either. He's going to smack me. Deborah Collier. Yeah, that's it. The Collier case. That is it, the boss. That's the one. Athens, Georgia. There it is. Athens, Georgia. Mother was found dead in a wooded area near after sending her daughter a distress. Yep. She was. I think she just wanted to disappear, and I think she wanted people looking for her. I think she wanted the word. I think her family just. I think she felt like her family took her for granted and wanted them to worry. I mean, why? I mean, for somebody to do something like that to the family, it makes you think that they've got, something going on upstairs themselves. But there we go, fellas. You guys are horrible. I'm not talking to the boss no more. I ain't talking to open-minded. You guys are, the fruit doesn't fall from the tree, too far from the tree. Birds of a feather. I'm a cheap biatch as well. But, I'm a female. When I go on dates, I get the birthday cake and stuff, I get the doting. Maybe not the men, but the women should be getting the doting. They're going to be like, Betty, shut up. Oh, we got too many cheap bitches in the damn chat now. I don't want to hear that you're not conservative, open-minded. I'm just saying. Where's my laugh? Where's my laugh? I think you deserve a laugh. It's gonna take me a minute. It's gonna move it. It's gonna lose its meaning by the time I get it up. And I got to do it. I got to do it. Damn it. Damn it. Too many cheap biatches up in the chat. Where it is? I'm just saying. I don't like none of you. I don't like none of you. All right. I feel like the pain is starting to subside a little. I'm in a lot of pain today. I really don't know. I got people I'm meeting at this luncheon too. I hate days like today. I'm in so much pain. I don't know what to do. I can't go in there looking like a slob. So that means I'm going to be in heels. And I don't know if I can do that today. I really don't. I really, really, really don't. Mm, I guess I'm just going to have to figure it out. I'm just going to have to figure it all out. So that was a good conversation for the Elena case. I think we're a little bit clearer on there, but if Justin said he might have been, maybe somebody misunderstood him or something like that. But yeah, we have Elena, and it sounds like he was married to Elena, but Elena is not Elena, and Elena is remarried now. I guess he never has to worry about, accidentally saying the wrong name. They're so close together. Betty, don't do heels. Well, it's I usually wear dresses. I'm so short. I have to wear heels to give me that. But usually I wear the wide heels. They don't hurt my back. I trust me. I don't think this is from the heels. I really don't. The heels I got, even the higher ones, they're big, they're clunky, they're chunky. So it feels like I'm walking on regular stuff. But I'm in a lot of pain for real, but I'm on pain. I don't do pain management. My pain management is a Aleve or ibuprofen. I don't even like Tylenol. Like I'm not a Tylenol person. I do not keep Tylenol or aspirin in this house at all. I am Aleve and ibuprofen only. They're the only things that whenever I have severe back pain, like if I know I'm digging a trench or something like that, and yes, I have, I'll take a handful of Aleve just so I don't have to feel any pain. A handful, like 5. And I'll go out and work, and I'll do day labor, and like not. I mean, I don't get paid for day labor, just to clear, but day labor, like I'm working during the day, like I'm laboring during the day, like physical labor during the day. When I'm doing that, I will take a lot of Aleve or ibuprofen, depending on what I have on pocket, but not when your back is killing you. Yeah, well, that's why I'm questioning whether I should go to the luncheon, because I can't dress appropriately for the luncheon with my back in the condition that it's in. And I do have some wedge shoes that might, and actually I could probably wear my, I don't think it's good for me. I really don't. I wanted to be there, but you know what? I really don't want to hear Amanda Ballard, and I don't want to put her up on my show. And one of the rules being at that luncheon is if I record, I've got to put everybody up there, and I'll be damned if I'm plugging frickin' Amanda Ballard. I'm sorry. I don't like the lady. She's my commissioner. Her and I had a major falling out about a year and a half ago over one of her stuff. It's been downhill ever since, because I knew the minute she was bought and paid for by the freaking developers. And you'll find out very, very quickly. I'm gravy with you when you're not corrupt. As soon as I start feeling like you've been corrupted, you have different plans, somebody promised you something, and you're voting because somebody promised you something, you will lose me every single time. You will lose me every single time. It's not how I politic. It's not how I politic. And people can be pissed off at me all day long, but at the end of the day, I hold people accountable. And everybody knows when I show up, it's business. It means that we're going to be in a cat fight somewhere. We're clawing something back, you know. Now I know right now everything I'm doing is absolutely worthless. I go in there and I'm not getting shit done. They're doing what they know that the county does not like what they're doing, and they're doing it anyways. That's how shitty our board of county commissioners are. They know they're getting fired because of how they're conducting themselves on that board, and they still keep conducting themselves on that board. And then they're going to be shocked and upset when they're finally kicked to the curb. And it's like, did you really think that we were lying to you when we told you to quit doing this shit? That the residents don't like it? Do you think we're just doing, like, I've got no self-serving motivation here. Okay? I've got none. I'm not asking them to do anything for me. I'm not asking for special favors, permissions, anything. I don't do anything self-serving. when it comes to my county. I think of the residents here, and I serve the residents. I don't serve myself. So when we're coming in there to tell them that the residents don't like this, and they are like, oh, well, I guess the residents should have shown up. It's like, you SOBs, let me tell you something. And I'm not going to fight with people. You will find out I will not fight with people. If you're supposed to do your stupid job and you don't do it well, I'm not fighting with you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go in there and I'm going to let you know every time I go in there, one, we're not happy, and two, you're losing your job. And every time I stand before them, they all have shitty looks on their face because they know I am right. They are losing their job. I don't have the power to do that. They can't say, oh, everybody's like, oh, yeah, Bullhorn Betty, Bullhorn Betty. I don't have the power to do that. You know who has the power to do that? We the people. That who have the. But the problem is I'm tapped into we the people. Why? Because I'm their activist. Okay. I know what they're thinking. Why? Because it's my job. It's called common sense. Oh, you can always count on a smile when you come in here. That's good. That's good. Oh, the boss. Oh, the boss. We love you. We love you. The boss, I'm pretty good at massaging feet. Okay, guys, get a room. I think we see a love not a love triangle going on. I think we might have we might be Bullhorn Betty love match making on the Bullhorn Betty show. Da boss and open-minded. Huh. I bet you Da boss gonna slap open-minded around, slap some screws loose. Or tighten some screws. I think I have to work on that a little bit. The boss is like, oh no, we're all too cheap. I don't want to pay for him and he doesn't want to pay for me. I don't want to pay for him and he doesn't want to pay for me. You know who the boss is? Oh, dear goodness. We're all going to HE. We're all going to HE double hockey sticks. We're just going. We're all going. We're up the creek without the paddle. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Lovemaking channel. Thank you, Mr. Rooster. You know who the boss is, open-minded. Who the boss? Open-minded said, I'm the boss. I'm the boss, baby. All right. Now that our love-making days are over, you guys have a great day. Good gracious. Have a wonderful, what's today? Wednesday. It's a hump day. Why am I in so much pain on a hump day? Anyways, guys, you rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. Waiting on a knee replacement as well. We're all falling apart. I'm going to have back surgery at some point. I can tell you that right now. I heard enough. We don't want this to turn into an AD. Another TV situation. Oh my goodness. We're going to have wrestling coffee beans pretty soon. Okay, I'm done. I've had enough fun with you guys. You guys go about your day. Go to bed. Go do whatever you guys do. At what time in the morning is it? I don't even know what time. It's already 6. I hit the wrong button. I didn't mean to hit the turkey button, the chicken button, but I did, didn't I? All right, guys, have a great day. We'll see you later. Drink water. Yeah, maybe. Don't do back surgery. It doesn't help. I had neck surgery. It helped amazing. I have a major curve. Like you can take your finger and your finger just goes like this on my lower back. Like it's pretty significant. It needs to be fixed. It's very painful. Some days I'll get here. Like one day I got up. I almost broke my freaking ankle. I stepped out of bed and I fell over. And I had to hold myself up between my bed and my dresser just to try to get my feet from buckling under me. It was the scary. I've never had a situation like that before. And so I'm finding out that there's a lot of stuff that's going on with me right now that I haven't had experience with, and I think it has to do with the nerves being pinched in my back. So you thinking of Mr. LOL? Oh, good gracious. Yeah, pinched nerve. It was bad. And I did. I stood up and I about fell over. I mean, I had to grab myself, and I bruised the whole side of my foot because I rolled it. And I'm like, and I literally couldn't walk. I couldn't put my foot would not hold. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I've never had that. Like, I really, it did, and I thought my foot fell asleep. So I keep thinking it was a sleep leg, but I really don't know, because usually when my foot falls asleep, you have those needles that come after it. I didn't have the needles, and that's what scared me. So I don't know. I feel like that something happened in my back. So we'll see. Anyways, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. We will see you guys in the near future. We still have to come back around to the Nancy Guthrie, but I think I'm going to do some more investigating on the stuff we have for Chris Nanas. I kept forgetting that this one person sent me this entire, I mean, did a lot of research on Chris Nanas. It just wasn't appropriate at that time. I just couldn't find a way to put that much energy into Chris Nanas at the time. It was right when we were learning about his him beating the cuffed in suspect. It was right around there. A person flooded me with a whole bunch of stuff, and it was so much stuff that my eyes were starting to gloss over. But now that we're kind of full circle back to Chris Nanos, that's going to be pretty interesting stuff to dive into. So maybe we'll start diving into that, because it seems like Chris Nanos is making, and not only that, he needs to be moved on. He needs to get out of office. He needs to quit hurting his citizens, and like the damage is done at this point. If he had any integrity whatsoever, I mean, whether he believes he's right or wrong, if he had any integrity whatsoever, he could actually see the toxicity he has brought to this case and brought to his department. If he cares about law enforcement and he cares about his brothers and sisters of blue, he will resign. He will resign because it's the right thing to do. But the problem with Chris Nanos is he's never done the right thing in 40 years. He's never done the right thing. So for me to think that he's going to just all of a sudden get decent integrity and a moral compass I don't believe it. So will he resign? In my opinion, no. That man will never resign. He has to be fired. I bet you anything the a-hole would probably try to run again if given an opportunity. After all that he has done, he would really actually think in his sick brain that he actually has a chance of winning again. I have no words. All right, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. We'll see you guys here in the near future. I might be going to that luncheon. I really feel like at this point I'm not. So I'm going to have to let my people know that I'm in too much pain today, that it's really not going to suit me for today. Everything was fine yesterday until I woke up today, and I've been up in a lot of pain. So anyways, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. We'll see you soon.